A very good morning to you. And as you know, it is youth and politics. I hope you did catch that scandalous interview that Valentine had. And here on Youth and Politics, we are going to discuss the youth's opinion on the state of affairs. We're just going to be highlighting what has happened in the headlines and we'll be commenting on it. And with me, I have a very able panel. I have one Purity Nelima who will talk representing the youth public. And we have Thomas Obare, who used to be youth senator for Kisii County, and we have Rachel Joshua, who is a political scientist student at MKU. Welcome. Say good morning to people.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hiya. Speaking of scandals that Valentine has just mentioned, now let's talk about scandals in this country. The NYS saga. 10 people, 10 major suspects have been cornered, and I'm just being told that someone has actually been arrested. We would like to understand, how do you guys feel about this incident? What do you think should happen to these people who get arrested? Let me start with you, Purity.
First, I'd like to say that I think youths, we've been so ignorant.
Yes.
Because, you know, fool me once, I'll call you stupid. Fool me twice, I'm stupid. Like, I'm the fool. Because, like, how do you fool me twice? So, so far, what has been happening in the NYS, I just feel like it's the highest time action should be taken. And I'm so glad that some of the people who are involved are already being arrested. Yeah.
All right. How about you, Thomas?
Thank you. I will not say I'm happy that people have been arrested because in 2015, when the first NYS scandal appeared, people were arrested. Those people are free. I'll be happy that people have been convicted over the NYS scandal because that is massive looting. That is like robbery. It's not even robbery with violence. It's more than robbery with violence. But if, for instance, we will not convict these crimes, what makes you not to steal again? What
actions? Okay, fine. If they were to be found guilty, what action do you think? Do you think jail is enough? What action do you think they should take?
Jail them, return that property to the government. Yes.
All right, what about you, Rachel?
This is Kenya, that's one. So when we live in Kenya, actually, there are some things that to some point, let me say they are entertained in the country. Like this issue of NYS, why is it not another department, surely? Every time NYS. In fact, the other time, those that involved the likes of the Kirinyaga governor, ilifikanga wapi?
They were acquitted in March 2006. Was it
acquitted in March, but that lady is occupying a government office after all that happened and after all that money that disappeared.
Do you feel like you have benefited from NYS? Because there are ODM MPs who are saying that it should be disbanded completely. Do you feel like you've benefited from that ministry in any way?
You know, most of the youths are so ignorant. So I wouldn't say that we've benefited because we even have how will I call it? Like we have the one you're telling me about, like, for the youths. But a lot of people are not aware of it. So I feel like most of the youths have not been benefited from it, and we are being targeted because people know that we are ignorant. Even the Bible says, my people are suffering because of lack of ignorance. That's
lack of knowledge,
right? So I feel like we are being targeted mostly because we are ignorant. Why not these other departments? It's not like only NYS has a lot of money, right? So I feel like that's the main reason we are being targeted.
So it should be disbanded until we gain some knowledge.
NYS, I think it came with the issue of devolution, isn't it? And from devolution has really disadvantaged youths. Sincerely speaking, devolution.
How so? I thought it has helped.
It has helped youth. Seriously, I don't think so. Like, let's talk of this issue of NYS. Those people, the recruits, when we start with the recruits, you find that the recruits are recruited and then you go for training. The conditions there are not that favorable, especially for ladies. Okay, I'm speaking for the ladies. The condition there is not that favorable for the ladies. And then after that, unasikia pesa ilitoka, hata mjalipwa, and you are there as a youth, mnaambiwa youths watapewa kazi. I don't think devolution has advantaged us that much. Okay, Thomas?
For me, I will tend to disagree with my panelists because I believe that NYS is a noble idea. The skills that you get from NYS, the people who've gone through NYS, they're very competent. The problem is how the whole body is run. You realize that the budget for NYS was 2.5 billion before the Jubilee government came in. But when the Jubilee government came in, the budget shot from 2.5 billion to 25 billion. That is massive. So you have to plan. It's as if there were some schemes and they knew how they will easily get the money. You see, when you are given idle money that you've not planned for, definitely you will find other ways of making use of that money. And that is what's happening at NYS.
All right, let's move on to the next scandal. Again, there's another scandal that arose. Let's talk about the trees issue. There's another 2 billion shillings that Uhuru had rolled out for the primary schools and students, pupils to be trained on planting trees and to be planting the trees.
Conservation.
Yes. So apparently it's like only 105 schools that have actually incorporated the idea, and you can imagine
there are many schools in Kenya.
Yes. So now 2 billion shillings is missing, and there we have CS Kiraikutobiko, who's actually very quick. He has already found suspects and he has already forwarded names.
Watawafikisha wapi?
Yes. Can you guys comment on this tree issue, the environmental issue?
Those days were so sly. Uliona vile alikuwa mpanda miti like along the roads, but looking here inside the forest, it's empty. Like that was such a smart move, and for him to discover that, it's a big up to him.
Yeah.
I want to comment about that scandal by saying this. It was 2 or 5 schools.
Yeah,
but you look at the cost of one tree, you get shocked. So it's like 10,000 a seedling. 10,000, 10 to 20,000. And I want to tell you, that is not only happening in that department. You go to government procurement, it is terrible. You find that projects that are supposed to be done, the cost is inflated. It's only not it's not only happening in NYS or the Ministry of Forestry. It's happened everywhere in government.
Yeah.
And we must come up with a law that is going to clean our systems. Corruption, let it be made a capital offense. And Sabina Chege said that
shoot to kill.
Shoot to kill. There is no way we are going. There is no way we are going to continue in this trend. We will have no country in the near future.
That's why I was asking you guys about action. What actions should be taken?
Hilda, first up, I'm shocked. A tree costing 10,000. I'm only wondering who took this tender of supplying trees at 10,000. My friend, mimi nimezoea miti tulikuwa tunanunua 2, 10, kama si 2, 5 mnaenda a tree at 10,000. Kwani inakuja na mvua? I don't
And again, where we are currently, there are countries that were there. You look at Japan, China, Singapore and Malaysia, they were there also. But why can't Kenya copy from what these countries did? Look at South Korea. They were having the same problem, corruption. But they came up with laws that were made so severe for you to involve yourself in corruption. And those countries are a living example of development.
I think that must happen in Kenya too, because ni kama these punishments we are giving to these people are too lenient. Why would someone repeat a mistake that was already done before? Maybe we should think of another way of punishing these people so that mtu akifikiria just about looting money.
Speaking of punishment, I think the country actually does have some very strong laws on punishment, because since we are youth here, there's another issue that caught my attention. There is an employee at Huduma Center, a young lady by the name of Justina, who is she's being fined very heavily, or she faces a 2-year jail term because she took a bribe of 2,500 shillings.
Only.
Imagine 2,500. I think it's because
are looting billions, you take 2,500. That is not enough for a week, and then you're jailed 2 years.
It's because she's a youth.
No, I don't think so. But you see, the law is really tough. And but how come it doesn't apply to?
Is that how
Kenya,
to straighten the society?
Still big. Don't steal 2,000. That's a shame that you were convicted because you stole 2,500.
But don't you think?
Yes.
Just a quick question: before you go and take that bribe of only 2,500 shillings, what are you going through in your life? Like,
that's true.
How frustrated are you to take such a bribe?
That is the problem that we have with the government and the youths. You employ a youth where there is not that enough money, and then akichukua bribe ya 2,500, you, the man who is looting billions of money, unaona like this 2,500 is too big. You don't even think that is
In
when
fact,
you
you're the
say-
first to point
you're
fingers.
looking at the, I don't know, the speck in one's eye instead of seeing the log in your own eye. The government is so unfair sometimes to the youth.
Rachel, don't be emotional.
No.
What happens? What happens, and that is why people who steal big are not arrested. You see, if you steal 2 billion, you will use this 2 billion to defend yourself. You will remain with something, and that is what's happening.
So you
So with
hire a lawyer.
2,500, you will hire nobody in this town.
So what are you trying to tell us? We still believe.
I'm not
still
saying
big.
that. I'm trying to explain why these people who are stealing billions are not being arrested. They are not being convicted. It is because they are using the government money to defend themselves.
Yeah.
2 billion, you will hire the best lawyers in
And
town.
sometimes you check under
And
which
with-
circumstance the lady took the bribe. You know, like
But you see, it's something that's already done. It's not something
bribe
that
is
we
a
are
bribe anyway.
negotiating. It's something that is already
that's
done.
a bribe is a bribe. Like, so let's talk of the people looting government money. You know, these money are meant for particular projects.
Yeah.
Like the meat issue where I hear that NYS, the recruits are eating a cow and a half per day. And you calculate the
know.
money.
Oh, that's
Ng'ombe moja na nusu.
Na nusu
Imagine, that
a
we got
day.
tunakata kujeni NYS.
Okay, very good. Now that we are all very upset and we are young people,
Yeah.
let's talk about the youth participation when it comes to these things. Because a report on the Kenyan youth, actually it's very sad, that our current economic conditions is affecting our mental health in terms of with our peers internationally. So about 10% of young Kenyan males and 7% of young females have reported being depressed, and another 10% have actually attempted to commit suicide. So you Obari, I'd like to to give this question to you. When you are a youth senator in Kisii County, how come you people are not recognized? People didn't even know there was a National Youth Council. People still don't know there's a youth senate. How did you guys manage to get your agendas forward? Why are you being ignored? Why are you not recognized?
You see, it's not like Youth Senate is a government organization. This is somebody who sat down, thought of forming Youth Senate. And then it is not instituted in law.
But your president is a member of parliament.
And it's
I
been
hope-
there more than 10 years
Yeah.
now.
I hope that now that he's in parliament, he will use that opportunity
At
to
least to
push the
advocate for
youth
you.
agenda.
Yeah.
That is what we can only hope for. But saying, talking about the Youth Senate, that is not anywhere in law. It is not anywhere. It's not. So it cannot be funded.
So
But
And
you
you
guys,
cannot
cannot be
be there.
recognized. It is like a lobby group that was formed to push for the youth agenda. So you cannot institute it. It was not instituted in law.
so that's why you're not recognized. How come,
Yes.
if it's been there for so long, how come they've never done anything to incorporate it now? What have you guys been doing to
I
ensure
think the
that?
president of the Youth Senate has been really pushing hard for the Youth Senate to be recognized. And that is why I applaud the Jubilee government for nominating him into parliament. Now, him being in parliament, that's what I was saying, that he can use that opportunity to push for the official recognition of the Youth Senate.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, sawa sawa. But there is another scandal here, which I'd like to mention as we wind up. The West Pokot County. No, their Governor John Lonyangapuo.
Lonyangapuo,
Yeah,
yeah.
Lonyangapuo. Yeah, he's being asked by his members of his county to sack his deputy governor, because apparently his deputy governor, who is Nicholas, is a doctor in America.
I just hope he's not a youth.
And he's been absent. So the public is citing absence. We've never seen this person, but he's the deputy governor. What do you guys have to say about that?
I think it's just the same thing na kupeana tender where like
Why it's not
book
deserved.
iko unaleta tender but you never deliver. So I think it's just the same story. Plus this is Kenya. We are used to scandals every week. CKPLC nini ma audit reports zinatoka kila wiki. So I think there's just something wrong and we need to sit down as youths and brainstorm, because where we are headed, I feel like we're in trouble.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thomas.
In our constitution, the role of deputy governors somehow silent.
It's not.
But
not
we
a-
had
That
a
is
big,
why-
but we saw a big
outlined.
fight here in Nairobi. Miguna, Sonko.
this is
it was
a
a
city.
big deal. So
Hilda,
I,
this is a city.
Hilda,
This is a
what
city.
so I
happens?
forgot it.
What happens that the people who are running the show are the governors. That is why it is very possible for the deputy governor to be absent and you will not even realize.
But huyu mtu anakula pesa za serikali.
Exactly, now that's
How
that's
did
the
he get the
problem.
position of being deputy governor? Maybe this is the person who funded Loyankapuo. You want him to be sacked.
But Hilda, seriously, when we talk about politics, like you're a politician and you're a doctor at the same time. Because for somebody like me, it's not a big deal. I'm a politician and it's a profession. So you just have to deal with it. You will not go and work in America and leave your job here in Kenya. Someone
That's true.
is now handling 2 offices at a time and it is still entertained in Kenya. You know, when a teacher is elected into the parliament, you find like he has to leave teaching and get to the parliament. But this is a place whereby you find a deputy governor, that's a very, very big post to leave and go to America
That's
to
true.
be a doctor. Why can't you just stay here? Because after those 5 years, you'll just get back to your work. I don't think the government is that okay with politics.
Rachel, today you have come with emotions, but it's about that time we wrap up. Hello Day is coming through with Wanshiko Kaitani. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Hilda Wadidi. Do not touch that dial.